It like zooms in whenever I start the video, but it scared me. And it's focusing on her. So, whatever. Hi, I'm Madison. That's the introduction. I had a thought, I swear. I just forgot most of them. I wanted to basically just talk about what I was doing and have an excuse. So I remembered I had a YouTube channel. So here's the problem. I went to Michael's and I wanted to be a sculpture girly. I read a little bit too much about Michelangelo, so then I was kind of like in my sculpture era, if you could say. I went to Michael's and I was like, I want to do some sculpture because I usually don't do 3D work with art. And so I was like, let me venture, let me explore, let me find my je ne sais quoi when it comes to sculpting. And then I bought the wrong clay. I didn't know the difference between like clay that is clay and then clay that is like polymer clay. Just learned the word polymer, didn't know that was a separate thing. And yeah, I had heard about it, but I didn't pay attention, and that was my downfall. So I bought polymer clay, which wasn't what I was expecting. I meant to get the ones where I can like soup it up with some water and like, and I didn't get that, and so I got the polymer clay, which is like harder. I don't know like the technical differences because I'm not like an investigator or like anything like that. I need her gone. It keeps can I talk like this? So polymer clay is basically harder, and I need to do it in the oven eventually at some point. So I was in a bad mood because I got the wrong clay. And so what I did was I made all of these little faces, and I'll show you to them. They look very much more scary than... Before I show you, it has like, they all have like colored pencil like shavings and like coloring on them because I'm messy and I'm doing something with colored pencils also at the same time. So who cares?
Oh, now we gotta go?
Isn't this so like ugly? Like I love it though, I love it. I made so many because I don't have anything else to do with polymer clay. I like this one.
That doesn't make no sense. My man.
Okay, well it looks scary on there. It's cute, I swear, it's cute. They're all cute, and I made a nice little happy little family, and no one can judge me ever because because I'm an artist. It's my creative liberty.
I am so powerful. My mind, oh, it amazes me sometimes.
Picasso is crying right now. He's actually dead, but I figured I would bust out the last little chunk. This is a whole pound. I accidentally bought 3 pounds because I didn't read how many were in the thing that I bought. And my table is full of colored pencils due to said colored pencil assignment. Not assignment. I hate that's how my brain like categorizes what I do. Like anytime I think of a task I want to do, like a hobby, I'll be like, okay, I have to do that at like 3 o'clock on Saturday. Or else, like, you know, like I'll make it a whole assignment, like homework, even though I decided to do it at my own freedom and liberty. So this is basically what I got. And I was expecting, I was like, oh, and it's like a little bit more like rubbery, I guess, than I was expecting, but I was like, oh, I can still do something with this. No, I can't. Oh my gosh. I cannot. Like, this is solid. This is crazy. This is satisfying. I'm turning into an ASMR channel. It's just not what I wanted. So that's when I started making the faces, because what else am I gonna do? Oh my gosh, I didn't even want to do that. I just wanted to stretch it. Basically what I did, this is not a tutorial. I don't think anybody wants to make these. I don't know anything about polymer clay. I think that was my first problem. I haven't done the research. A lot of times at art, when it comes to like art school and like whatever else I had to do, I'm not even an art major. What a lot of people will say is like, start with research, which you should. But like, if you don't want to, just make something good. And if it's not gonna be good, then at least make something you like. Like, you know what I mean? If no one else is gonna like it, you should. I really hope none of these are in like slow motion, because one time I filmed an entire video, and when I say an entire video, I was trying to do one of those like long at length video essay type things. I was talking about a book for hours and hours, and I went back to edit the footage and it was all in slow motion. Because why would it be easy? Why would it be easy? I love how I wasn't even in the frame. I don't know how to do this. I think it's crooked. If I'm straight, this is crooked. Okay. So then I flattened it because it's just gonna mess with the lighting. I'm going to tweak. Why did I even move it? So this is my little face. I feel like with being an artist, you just do whatever you want, which is the beauty of it. Until someone tells you you're not supposed to do whatever you want. That's one of my biggest pet peeves with art. All you gotta do is say the right thing. Like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, if you're doing something and you like the thing that you're doing, and other people are like, oh, like the contrast just isn't what I'm looking for, or like the balance is the balance is so asymmetrical, it just doesn't work with this. Like, you know, all you gotta do is say the right thing after that. All you gotta do is look them in the eye and be like, oh, that was very intentional. And then suddenly you're right. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because how are you wrong? How you're gonna look me in the face and tell me I'm wrong?
You're gonna look at me and you're gonna tell me that I'm wrong? Am I wrong? She wore a crown and she came down in a bubble, duh.
No, you're not. Because it's my art. Like, you know what I mean? This is so, but this is, I feel like this is how a lot of artists feel. It's just like, I'm not doing everything for technicality. I'm not doing everything to make it a next like Mona Lisa, like the most analytical piece that it could ever be created. I'm doing it because it looks pretty and it's in my brain and I want it out of my brain. That's why people create. Like, is that hard to grasp? Maybe, like, maybe for some people, but I feel like it's genuinely not. I feel like it's the same with a lot of other creative paths, like music. Like, sometimes you just like the way things sound. And like, you get to like music theory. I know nothing about music or music theory at all. But like, I feel like you get to like some weird level. Same thing with fashion too. I feel like with fashion, it's kind of similar to art where like, the higher up you go in like the ranks of like status of fashion / art, the more you're kind of like, okay, like, you know, it's less to just be like, oh yeah, that's beautiful, I see how that's beautiful, and more of like explanation. And I feel like explanations goes a lot with art, but like a lot of times artists are tired of explaining, or maybe it's just me. I don't always love explaining things because like, you know, a lot of my pieces are emotional. A lot of what I do is emotional. This is emotional. But like, you know, it's just because I want to do it. Sometimes when you're making an emotional piece or like abstract or something, it's just like, I just thought it would look really pretty and I had this pretty picture in my mind and I really wanted to put it on paper because I thought everyone else would think it looks pretty. At the same time, I think with my pieces, I do have a lot of meaning in them. Sometimes I think specific questions can be funny sometimes just because like, everyone comes to art with different perspectives, and you know, something that I think is really important to the piece is something that's completely like overlooked by somebody else, which is fine, and I love that. Like, I love how everybody can come to a piece differently, but then sometimes people will come to me with like something I didn't even notice about the piece, and then be like, oh, like, why did you do this? And I'm like, what are you even seeing? Like, you know what I mean? But that's the beauty of it, and I'm like, oh. And sometimes it's a subconscious thing where I feel like I have a reason why I did that, but then sometimes I feel like that's just how the art goes. It's how the brush fell, you know? And I feel like when I approach art like the other people do, I don't always come into it with like, oh, they were so like analytical in how they were approaching this and they were thinking through every single thing. And a lot of times like with older pieces, I feel like, and sometimes with new pieces, I'm not saying like everybody lost their brain and like don't know how to think anymore, but like a lot of times back in the day, they were like thinking things through like really hard because you know, it was expensive and not everyone can paint, and it was like you had to be the camera because there were no cameras. So like, if you don't paint this king's nose right, people in the rest of history are gonna think this guy had a fat nose. And so it was more important about like whatever, and like symbolism and everything, and I think there's still symbolism. I still use symbolism and everything. I don't think I did this right. I don't think there's a wrong way to do it either. A lot of things that I appreciate about art too, like some paintings, I'll look at them and it's not like something intentional. That's my favorite part about the piece. It's sometimes just the way that the paint moves. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like sometimes I just like a brush stroke, or I like how they did that. And I don't think they were like with their brush in hand, like, I need to make sure this stroke is perfect. I think they were just painting, and like, that's the beauty of it. And so sometimes I think people think too hard about art, and that's why I'm making ugly things. Is that not a thesis? Like, am I not correct? Like, you know, also I have pants on, I swear. So yeah, that was my art tangent. I hope you enjoy it. It's kind of like the same energy as like that English teacher joke where it's like, why were the curtains blue? And sometimes they're just blue. And that's not how everyone writes. Like I write, like I know a lot of details are important, a lot of symbolism is important, and yes, like you use a lot of that, and sometimes it doesn't even get picked up by the reader. What you can think to disregard, sometimes it's actually intentional, and like the curtains were blue because of like depression or something. But sometimes I picture a scene in my head and it's like, I think she needs a hot pink bow. Like, I think that she should be JoJo Siwa in this scene. And it's not for a reason besides, like, aesthetic in my brain. I guess that is a reason. I was about to say, just, like, to show personality. But, like, that's a reason. So, there there's usually always a reason. I feel like with writing more, but art really feels like my like expression hobby, where like if I'm upset, I'm gonna paint. Like, you know what I mean? Like if I'm mad or happy or like I'm feeling some strong emotion, I can express that the best way through art, you know? But with writing, I don't think I express emotion during writing. Like, if I'm upset, we're gonna write a scene today. A lot more thought goes into my writing because I care so much about it. Whereas with art, I don't have to care about every piece. I don't have to post every piece. I don't have to sell every piece. I can get a piece of paper and get some watercolor and vent my frustrations, and no one will ever see it ever. With writing, I could also do that and just keep it in the drafts, but I don't usually do that because it just takes more of my brain energy to do that. And when I'm emotional, like, I'm not gonna be sitting there like calculating what I'm supposed to write down. Like, it's gonna be like all caps, like high stress texting, like, you know, at best. I don't want like a digitized version of that. So that's why I don't write when I'm like upset. I'll paint a picture when I'm upset. And even those, I'll be like, okay, that's emo. Like, you know, looking back. But it's better to me because then it's like everybody, like I said, comes to art with their own interpretations and whatever. And they can interpret whatever they want. I know what I meant. With writing, it's more like I'm explaining what happened and why I'm right. So there's a little bit less for grabs there. This is what it looks like so far. I'm losing it, like, full disclaimer. But I love it. I'm free. I'm free. Now he can see. I literally love these. I don't know. I'm gonna look back on this in like a year and be like, that should be me. Look. I'm gonna give him a mouth. I forgot what I was trying to do with this, but I like bent it. I fixed it because I'm Bob the Builder. Who allowed that to happen? Bill Gates. This is so cute. Could you imagine if I gave these to like my friends? Cece, Logan, Maya, do you want your own personalized thing? The answer is no. I wish I had like at least one friend that was just like as dumb and like weird as I am. I'm not dumb, I'm not stupid dumb. I'm just like dumb in the sense of like funny, but like my type of funny. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not like a clown, like funny for everybody, but like I'm funny for me. Like, I'm gonna be chuckling and giggling when I'm watching this. Anybody else might not be, but at least I'm having a good time. But I wish that there was somebody that was like the exact, like I wish I had a clone. That's all it said. Like, I don't know how conceited that is. I wish there was one of me to give these to because she would eat this up. She would she would have laughed so hard. She'd be like, what the heck is this? But like, I appreciate that. I appreciate her. She who never was. I cut to, I'm not gonna tell you what I just did. I just made a little bit of a mess though. See how I went from like being absolutely obsessed with myself to like hating myself in like 5 seconds? Yeah. I'll give a channel update or writing update. I'm plotting 2 books. I outlined both of them. So excited to do both of them. I have a series that I really want to do, but it requires way more research than I ever want to do. But like, I actually love research on things I'm interested in. It's just when the pressure of getting things right for a book, because if I say something stupid, I feel like a historian's gonna know. Not like a historian, I don't worry about them being my target audience. I don't think a historian wants to read anything I write. But like, if something's obviously wrong, I don't want to be embarrassed. I can't. I would say I can't be embarrassed. I embarrass myself all the time. But like, I just don't want to deal with that. But I'm gonna, because I'm a walking contradiction. I've also prepared one of my other books that I've actually finished, kind of. It's never finished. Nothing's ever finished, but it will be. I'm preparing to query it. I'm going in hopeful. I did a synopsis, which I've never, I almost said I'd never done before. I did it once and it was painstaking. I thought it was gonna take me out, y'all. I thought it was gonna take me out. Synopsises, whatever it's called, are like one of the banes of my existence. The query letter is the other bane. And I haven't done the query letter yet, but the synopsis was the one I was actually like worried about, like, might throw up. But the synopsis was the one I was actually like really dreading, and then I did it because God himself shined a light upon me and allowed me to do it. And so now I'm really pumped because I just feel like Shakespeare is like at my fingertips, you know what I mean? So I'm really on cloud 9, having written 1 page of words. So no one can tell me nothing, basically. No one can tell me a single thing. So yeah, I'm really excited to query it actually, because the first book that I tried querying, I didn't really understand what was so wrong. I figured there was something I'm missing because there's always something I'm missing. I understand now why that wasn't the right book to query yet. Because that book, if I do have success in querying and like getting an agent and everything, it's not gonna be with that book. The odds were stacked against me. Like the odds were not in my favor. Just because of a couple things, like the book I think was fine. People say like don't judge your own writing because like you're gonna miss things and like you're blindsided. You've read it so many times, which I have too many times, but I love it. So other people say read, like you're your own best critic, and so I don't know if I fully believe either of those, but I think I have a pretty good sense of taking a step back, but I also know I'm never gonna be fully removed from my own book because duh. So I don't think the book, like the content of the book is the problem, or like the grammar or anything. I think the problem was what the book was at like a faraway view for someone like presenting it to. I think the word count was too high, and I'm not being dramatic. I know everyone says they can't delete scenes. Everybody says it like they're like all my scenes are important, and it's a complete lie. Like they don't mean to lie, but like not every scene is important. I have gone back and tried. Like I tried to be ruthless. I really did, but I won't give myself the benefit of the doubt and say every single scene was important, but I think most of them were, and I really don't want to cut the other ones because of sequel things. And this is the other reason it wouldn't work, because I want it to be a sequel and I'm very stubborn. And you can't do that on your debut book. You can't do that. You can, but it's not likely, and they don't want you to want to do that all the time or ever. So it's not the right book to query. I'm gonna get that book out there, but not yet, not like that. It kind of encourages me more because now I'm like, okay, so the problem wasn't that I sucked. Now, the writing quality, the synopsis, I haven't gone back and read that. Some of the writing quality could have been the issue. I can't remember how old I was when I was querying. I want to say I was a junior or a sophomore. I think a junior or sophomore. And I don't think my writing was too bad as a junior or sophomore. Like I said, I'm a writing nerd. I like my writing, and I usually like I'm very critical, and so it's not like I'm in la la land all the time and it's like, oh, my writing's the best, it's great. No, it's not the best. It's not the greatest the world has ever seen, but I don't think it's bad, because like after I get so many drafts in it, after being so critical on it, I don't think it's that bad. And I'm extremely biased. So whatever, like, you know, I just have that frame of mind going in that like, yes, I'm biased, but I don't think this is complete trash, because I feel like I've read published books that suck. Like, you know, like there's at least 5 published books that should not have ever seen the light of day. So if they can do it, I can do it. And that's the attitude I take. I don't take any like arrogant attitude towards it. I just feel like, you know what, like anyone can do this if they try hard enough and are persistent enough, and I am stubborn. So that's how I feel about that. And I'm really excited to query this next book because it is a standalone. I really want to write a prequel, but I don't have to. And I might do it anyway because I'm great. I don't have to write a prequel. I at least don't need to publish a prequel. I probably will write one because I want to. I haven't decided if I'm gonna do middle grade or YA, and I think I'm gonna do middle grade. Ooh, but like for the children. Well, Shannon Messenger, Miss Shannon herself, she marketed Keepers of the Lost Cities as middle grade. It says on the back 8 through 12. Why do I have to hear about all these people dying, and why am I going through trauma? Why am I going through trauma that this girl's going through at 8 years old? So I'm allowed to put all the traumatic stuff in this book. Not actually traumatic, I'm being dramatic, but like, comes down to believability for me. If I'm thinking about a 13-year-old like doing some crazy stuff, I'm gonna go back to my 13-year-old mindset. It wasn't too long ago. It wasn't long enough ago. I kind of think about like, okay, what was my mental process at 13? The dialogue some people will give to like 13-year-old children is like scholarly level like vocabulary. And I have some moments where it's like, this is just what I need them to say. Like, I'm so sorry, but like, you're gonna have to sound like you're at least 21. Like, just for like 2 seconds, please, and then you can go back. Like, I'm like bargaining with my characters. Because like, I know, I get it. So there's hits and there's misses, but the whole book can't be a miss. No, you cannot have this kid talking like they're a freaking like Harvard graduate. Like, you know what I mean? Unless it's like the story. I'm putting a little like ring, 2 little rings around him to to embody, or I don't think that was the right verb. I think I'm gonna do another video about beta reading specifically because I have a lot of thoughts about beta reading, and a lot of them aren't gonna put me in a good mood, so I'm not gonna ruin my good mood right now by talking about it, but I'm gonna do a video probably talking about it because I have a lot of thoughts. But, you know, excited about querying. I really do love these stories. I love telling stories. It's like my favorite thing. Like I said, like art is my expression and everything. And art's usually what I feel like people more like associate me with doing art than like writing or anything. But I truly feel like writing is just like my favorite thing to do, my favorite hobby by far. Like I love it so much. I really hope that like in the future these videos are really funny to me because I've like made it or something, or they'll be really depressing because I'll have it and I'll be like, she was so happy. Sometimes I think about like like I only started getting into books because of my 4th grade teacher, Miss Sorrels. Shout out to Miss Sorrels. I literally love Miss Sorrels. If you ever see this video by any chance in the stars or whatever, I love you so much. I love you so much, so much, so much. But like, you made me a nerd. You made me such a big fat nerd. But like, I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world because she read us Gregor, first of all, which actually made me a nerd. The Gregor series by Suzanne Collins made me a complete and absolute book nerd. I remember, Miss Sorrels, you probably don't remember this, but I remember one day I missed class when we were reading. We had a little reading time. I missed a chapter of Gregor because I probably had to go to the doctor or something. And I came back and I was like, oh my gosh, I missed a whole chapter of reading. And I was freaking out, which was the first signs of being an absolute dork. And I went up to Miss Sorrels and like, hey, can I bring your copy of the book home and read to catch up to that chapter of the book before we read like tomorrow, like the next day? And she's like, yes, like you can. And so I brought this book home, this copy, and I read the rest of the book, the rest of it. Like I spoiled I didn't spoil it, I read it. And that's when that was the first signs. And then I went back the next day and I was on cloud nine because the book was so good. And then I read the rest of the series, and then she read us Percy Jackson. Don't even need to say anything else about that. I was obsessed with literally everything Percy Jackson, and I was complete in the trenches at that point. So Miss Sorrels, if you ever see this, I love you. After I read like all the series and whatever, then I started writing because I think it's just because I'm a control freak. I think I just wanted to be able to control the characters in books, so I wouldn't have started writing if it wasn't for Miss Sorrels probably. But yeah, literally biggest fangirl of my 4th grade teacher. Genuinely. I just think if I had never been read books or started in 4th grade reading books, like what would I be doing right now? Probably doing something cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like I'd probably have Riz or something. Like, I don't know. I think I started drawing. I started drawing in 4th grade too, like trying to learn things and like watching YouTube. I really think I started that in 4th grade. I was 10, so like that was like right when I got a phone. So all in the same kind of spans, I started 2 journeys, and here we are. I have to put these in the oven, and I'm really scared because I don't think they're gonna survive. I'm also scared that like I just have bad luck and like I won't understand an instruction and it'll just all like blow up or something. But I'll let you know in the description what happens. But thank you for watching, and I hope you subscribe and like and comment and love me. I will see you in the next video. Bye!